Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of Inside the Walls podcast. I am your host, Jim Renier. Alongside me are my partners in crime from Omaha, Matt Patton.
What's up?
And from West Virginia, Jeff Blumenauer.
Country road.
It's catchy. Every week.
You got to do it. You have to do it. You got it. Every time you mention that state, you have to get the. You got to hold that. You got to hold it. You got West Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
You got to hold it.
My kids still do it. I haven't been out there in over a month.
Just saying, it's catchy. Name me another state that has a song like that. Well, you got North Carolina, born and raised. Take your shirt off. You know that song, but we won't get in that one. We don't want to get flagged for taking. But. And I know, before we get into all the news and notes of the day, recapping an excellent week of football, remember to follow us our podcast on all of our podcast platforms, Spotify, Our Heart, Apple Podcast Addict, and also click on the QR code, sends you directly to all of our podcast platforms as well. And also, you can visit all the information from the National Arena League at nationalarenaleague.com for more up-to-date information for the team and the league and the schedule and schedule updates. But I've seen chatter. I've seen social media. I've seen people asking where they can watch, what is going on, what happened. We need to know what happened. Can we find a way to watch the content? I hear you, and I can really just say this, ladies and gentlemen. Deeply, I know. We've heard you. We will bring forth to you what every fan wants in the National Arena League. And that's another episode of Inside the Walls podcast that will debut later this week on Friday with Sterling Clark. So it will be downloaded and available. We weren't here last week because we were doing adult things. Are you good, Matt? Dropping stuff?
I'm fine, yes.
We had adult situations. We had to take care of adult things for us, so we couldn't do an episode last week. But we will have 2 editions of Inside the Walls podcast this week for you. This episode, and of course, the episode on Friday itself. So we know what happened this past weekend in sports. It's unique how the sport is, and we know what happened on social media, especially the chatter. I know I was kind of, trolling a little bit because that's what I do. I like doing that. But a little bit serious note, we're not going to touch on it because we have a great guest and JD on the show today. We're going to talk about the performance that Beaumont did against Omaha. Then we're going to break down the action from Idaho and Carolina, and we'll touch up on the other 2 games that happened in the league play. But I was forwarded this information by Stephen Shatola of the National Arena League Multimedia Director about our YouTube account. The National Arena League, for the people who are listening on podcast platforms, the National Arena League's YouTube account was not suspended. The account was terminated by YouTube after internal review by YouTube, even after the appeal process was denied. This was not due to a copyright strike. We understand that most of the common causes, but our violations was a community violations related, not that we are still pursuing now with Google support and the parent company of YouTube. The NAL is providing full footage and audio transcripts to prove the case against YouTube. This is not a minor suspension. This is a major infraction that won't be resolved overnight or on a simple phone call. Also, to continue, the National Arena League is committed to providing our loyal fans with the game they love. We have a magnitude of support, including Inside the Walls and Right Now TV, and we will continue to bring our games to you, our fans, for free. Stephen Shatola of the National Arena League. That is the update on the YouTube channel itself. So if you want any more information for the National Arena League, visit thenationalarenaleague.com. Follow Inside the Walls podcast. Follow these 2 gents on social media because we're so connected with the league. If we find out 99.99999%, it's accurate. So we know what happened. We see social media. It's all good. It's all gravy. It's awesome. Because honestly, it really tells how many people actually support the league and really want the content. So it tells it that there's a market. And honestly, for us who do this for a living, yeah, it stinks. But we know we have a fan base that is thriving to get the games back on. And we are working towards that and bringing you the content that you love its most. And of course, if you're trying to get, honestly, a little plug-in, if you're in Omaha, if you're in Columbus, if you're in Willing, go to the arena, get the tickets, be there live, because we got some division matchups this weekend that are going to be crucial. But overall, there's Casey coming in with a big matchup in Columbus this week, by the way, Casey. That's where we stand. So with that, do you want to, before we introduce our guest, guys, because I know Jeff has wanted this individual on the show for weeks. Actually, not weeks, since he was announced as a part of the Beaumont. And Matt just comes as know him with his fanhood from collegiate to the NFL. Every player that we have in the show apparently has connections to Matt, which is weird. But I digress. But I don't want to be a biased show that we like.
Yeah, I mean, how dare we?
Yeah, how dare we be one?
How dare we have a Beaumont guest on this week? We're so biased.
Yeah, so biased. So biased that 3 different hosts here host 3 different shows for 3 different teams, and one of them doesn't even play in the league. That's how biased we are. But anyways, I digress. Big game this big weekend that's happened. Very big weekend that's happened in the NAL. So I saw that there's a little hashtag going out there. So I don't want to bounce off the walls for some anonymous thing, but hashtag post a score this past weekend. The Beaumont Renegades get a 36-31 win over the Omaha Beef. Looks like that's the final score of the game against the Beef. So don't know what the big deal about it is. Also a big win in Idaho, where the Idaho Horsemen beat the Carolina Cobras in the 2 matchups. Also, we had 2 big-time blowouts in Shreveport. Shreveport gets Louisville, and Colorado just standing home turf victorious over the Las Vegas Kings. But no further ado, we have a guest on the screen below us. He's eager to get on. We got to talk about this big-time win for the Beaumont Renegades over the Omaha Beef. But to make it a little bit intriguing, he is an Iowa Hawkeye. But we're going to have the guy who's also a Beef fan introduce an Iowa Hawkeye of a player who got a big win this past weekend over his Beef.
Yeah. So without further ado, let's welcome to the podcast tonight, reigning Defensive Player of the Week in the National Arena League, defensive lineman JD Griggs from the University of Iowa, Akron University, and from the Beaumont Renegades. JD, thanks for being on tonight with us.
How you doing, guys? What's up, man? Appreciate you. Thank you, guys, for having me on the show.
I'm happy that you joined. I'm not joking around when I say when Matt does this show, he's connected with everybody in this league. Apparently,
like 7 separations of Kevin Bacon or whatever it is.
It's scary, dude. I'm just saying. I'm starting to feel like if I even ask a random player, he's like Matt will know. I'm like, come on, man. Like,
go Hawkeyes.
Oh, here we go again. Do we need to change the episode? Do we need to change the background to yellow and black? Do we have to do that?
True, black and yellow.
And now you're gonna get Steeler fans in the chat. They're gonna start. No, that's gonna be a different order.
Where's Bob?
Where's Bob? Yeah, where's Bob?
Don't say his name anymore. He'll show up. But also, JD, just again, big time win. But I wanted to say, how hard was it? You get the win over Sioux City, then you got to sit on the couch for 3.5 weeks before you could get back on the field. What did you do in that month off span between games?
To be honest, we just practiced. But throughout the weekends when we didn't practice, we actually got to know each other. We got some camaraderie. We actually started to gel with each other off the field. We started treating each other like brothers, so it made it easier on the field for us to trust one another. So during that month, that was like a real good personal month for the team, I should say.
I don't know about you, man, but you get a big win over Sioux City, then you got to sit on the couch for 3.5 weeks. And we're like, man, you're watching all the other teams in the league play. You're like that's tough for a mental psyche for any player. Any sport, just not the NAL, for any sport, honestly.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. That last week of practice before game week, Oh, we was going at it because we was getting so tired of hitting each other. And mind you, we went full pads every day throughout that month. So we were hitting each other every day. We just were ready to hit somebody else. So when it came time to play against Omaha, it was a no brainer.
Well, a Omaha performance is what we like to call, because you, sir, defensive player of the week from the National Arena League. That's especially against an offense that has Lorenzo Brown, new coach Brendan Negron, but still a team, a coach. He's an offensive minded coach. So your performance in that game, what was it just the jitters of just getting back on the field and hit someone else with a different jersey? How did the game plan formulate? How did you execute the game plan against an Omaha beef team?
Well, to our advantage with that, those 3.5 weeks off, we just studied. And me being a vet, I learned one thing playing in my whole career: you have to study. You got to watch film. You got to keep looking at different things that's going on within the league. You got to see everything. So we just studied for about a month straight, and then even though Omaha had different culture changes and different things like that, we were just like, all right, we're ready, we're prepared for whatever comes our way. And like I said, we were hitting, going against each other, iron sharpens iron. So it just made it so much easier when we played Omaha. It was like, you know what, this is just another team in front of us. Let's go ball. So it made it way
Well,
easier.
again, we have an owner of the Columbus Lions chiming in and said
Plus,
you need to
we
take
play in
you need.
Omaha.
Huh?
You get a chance to, you know, hand them their first loss. It's always an exciting thing.
People been waiting to do it for 3 years. So
Well, and
Yeah.
also you have the owner of the Columbus Lions chiming in and telling you to take the week off.
But yeah, it was, I'll say, probably this last week, especially last week, we had about 4 or 5 practices, and we were just like, you know what? Yeah, we were just so ready to see another jersey, another team, something, and then also for the city of Beaumont. Uh, we understand that the past Beaumont had other minor league teams here that weren't successful, so we just wanted to give the city what they wanted, an actual successful minor league team here. So made it way easier for us to go out there and ball and play for the city. And the city's backing us, behind us. You guys didn't get to see on the screen the fans that were there, because majority of the fans were sitting behind us.
Mm.
And if you guys got to see all those fans, you guys would have saw a different type of atmosphere. They were hype. It was like as if this team was here for about 5 or 6 years. That's
yeah,
the
because
type of atmosphere.
it's deceptive on the broadcast. You can't really see the people that are behind you at all. That's true.
Yeah.
Talk about
So,
the game plan that I believe it's Coach Peace created for you guys for this last week against Omaha. Just that how that game plan allowed you guys to be successful and ultimately walk out with that victory.
well, one, you gotta know Coach Peace is a vet in this game, so he's a genius. He understands. He knows the game. He's very particular on things. All he does is just watch film. So me being a vet as well, watching film, helping the younger players out with different things going on, and then Coach Peace would just tell me what's going on, what's the game plan. Here's how we're going to attack this play and everything, and I'll just relate it to how the players like it, and we just go out there and ball. Like, Coach Peace, he trusts us. We trust Coach Peace. Like, we understand that he's a real vet in this, and he knows what he's doing. So we just whatever he says, we gotta do.
So let's talk about the first two games that you guys had. You know, I we can go back and look in the history. I don't think anybody's had uh, a first two games like you guys have had. I mean, you've knocked off the reigning champions and the runner up from last season, and you guys are a new team in the league. So I mean, you guys are really throwing it all out there for everybody to see. Hey, Beaumont is here and here to stay.
Yep, that's our main thing. I keep saying after every game is welcome to Beaumont. Reason why is because like you just said, we here to stay. We're not going anywhere, and so we're gonna make a statement with that. And Coach Solo, he tells us every day we have a chance and a choice. So we make sure that we take care of every chance that we get, and we're gonna choose the right thing to do with that, so we can stay here. So these 2 past games, those are our statement games for the rest of
Yeah.
the season and for the future, the Beaumont Renegades. So we here to stay.
Well, apparently football's big in Texas. I heard.
Yeah. And me
A
coming
little
from New
bit.
Jersey, witnessing it down here, playing with the Fighters before Frisco, and then playing down here. Yeah. Yeah. Football is king out here.
Mhm.
But speaking about playing for Frisco, a lot of people don't realize that you had a journey and you're playing from collegiate to professional. How was that journey for you from going playing from Iowa to now you ended up here in Beaumont?
Journey was long. Long journey. I went from Iowa to junior college, Nassau Community College for a year, and then went to University of Akron, go Zips, and finished there my collegiate career there, and then had a little stint with the Jaguars, and then went to the CFL, played with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. After that, that's when I started playing arena football about 2016, and I was playing with the Colorado Crush. I finished playing the last 6 games of that year, and then I went and played for Spokane Empire for their last year, and kept on going from there. Went on to play with the Massachusetts Pirates for their first 3 seasons. Ended up winning the championship 2021. Then I decided to move down to Texas and move down to Dallas. So I decided to join the Frisco Fighters and was playing with them for about 2 years. And then I took a year off last year. I was like, my body, my me playing for this long, waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning, all that stuff. I was like, man, let me take a little break. So took a break last year, and then Sam Gordon called me. He was like, I'm building a team out here in Beaumont, man, right in Texas, in the state you're at. So you want to come play with me one last time, try to get this ring? I was like, ah. At first I was hesitant with it, but then I thought about it, I was like, I do miss playing the game. I do miss this game. So decided to come back and play.
You started your comeback tour 2-0.
Yeah.
You beat the runner-ups of the NAL last year and the defending champions this year, so it's a good start. But
Yeah.
now it looks like you will be going back to the swing of things because you have, I think, 6 straight weeks of games. So no
Yep.
bye weeks, and if you include the playoff and the championship, you got 8 to 9 week streak. How does it feel finally getting back to the normal grind of a season?
I mean, to be honest, it feels good. Like I tell my players every day on my team, we got to practice and act like pros on and off the field. Meaning, even once we're done with practice, you still got to take care of your body. You still got to go to the gym. You still got to go to physical therapy, get to cryotherapy, different things you got to do to make sure your body's ready to play this game. Because I tell them all the time, this is not outdoor football. Outdoor football, yes, of course, regular football, you get hurt and everything. But indoor football, you're gonna feel it 10 times more than outdoor football. The field's not as soft as you would think. The wall is there, and
Wall's
everything
undefeated.
is undefeated. So, and even in practice, we have walls. So, I'm trying to tell them, you make sure as a pro, you take care of your body off the field. And make sure you hydrate every day. Make sure you study every day so the game can come faster to you, so you know how to make the play without going too hard and everything. So teach them to be a pro.
Well, talking about the wall being undefeated, we saw a couple players flip over the walls this weekend. So
Did we?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw number 12. I forgot his name from Omaha. He went
Debonair.
over the wall.
he looked like he was trying to get frequent flyer miles with Delta Airlines.
Yeah,
I
especially
bet you, I bet you,
feet.
I bet you
Yeah, that
flew
was
through the arena.
crazy. Yeah, him, another player. I think hit the wall, went to the wall. So yeah, saw some crazy things. I've seen some in my career, some crazy over the wall. Like people jump ball, 6'5" jump ball, and his toe hit the wall. And as soon as his toe hit the wall, he flipped and his head hit straight on the concrete.
Mhm.
Like, yeah, froze up. He got a concussion and everything. It was, yeah,
We had a guy.
crazy. Right in front of the bench. It was
We had a
crazy.
guy at the
Yeah.
beginning of
So
the
I've seen
2023 season
some
that
wild things over the wall. Yeah.
Go ahead, Matt.
we had a guy at the beginning of the 2023 season
Oh, I
went
can't
over the wall to catch a
hear
goal.
Matt. There we go.
Oh, oh,
Hi, can you hear me now?
Oh,
Yeah.
we can hear you. It was just on him.
Sorry. Yeah. No, we had a guy that went over the wall in 2023 that literally went over the wall and then tore his ACL in the process. So, yeah.
Ow.
Wall's undefeated.
There's two
Yep.
things about this game. Father Time wins, and the wall also wins.
Yes.
And the thing is, I'm on defense, so that's our ninth man to me.
Yeah.
Especially playing defense in, I use the wall. So, yeah.
I don't know, dude. You play defense, and you'll have an opinion on this. Do certain offensive players do they use the wall and trying to use that like let's say this all those offensive players, not naming anybody. Do you think they visit the LeBron school of flopping when they enter get the wall so they can get that extra 15-yard penalty?
Some do. I don't, yeah, like you said, without saying any names, but some do. And because sometimes, the ref is not at a good angle to see it. So some do. And I've even seen some use the back wall in the back of the end zone to run up and catch the ball. So like they'll run a little slant route, but they'll run on the wall and the quarterback just throw it up. He'll catch it, land in the end zone, and they call a touchdown. So yeah. I've seen some crazy things with offensive players. They they trying to cheat the game a little bit.
Yeah, I know how defensive players they use the wall to advantage. I know how offensive players also use it to their advantage and try to get
Yeah.
the extra yardage because we've known, and it's just not the NAL. It's every league that has a wall.
Mm-hmm.
You have
Every
people that
league.
they get touched like by a feather and they go and they hit the wall and they flip over and
Yep, so
sometimes
true.
they get yeah.
With their
I've
running
even
back.
seen
Fan.
some. I've seen some go over the wall. They'll drop the ball, knowing they dropped it over the wall, but the ref's not there yet, so they'll just pick up the ball, put the ball up. The ref's like touchdown. I'm like,
You
knowing
can't hate
knowing darn well he dropped it. Yeah,
you can't hate him though.
yeah. I mean, hey, you gotta do what you gotta
Unless
do.
there's a camera there that catches it, then you can review it. So
Yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do to win. I'm not mad at that.
but hey.
Yeah.
But one thing I know we have to do it because he's either going to ask you about two things, but Matt asks you have your permission. Go ahead. Ask him.
Do you guys have any kind of noisemakers in your crowd down in Texas?
A little bit. We actually had a high school band there, so we had some
Okay.
noisemakers and stuff. But
So
we
so
had.
then how do you feel about cowbells?
I'm used to it because I know in Iowa, yeah, Iowa, what they're notorious with them cowbells, boy. So when I used to play against the Barnstormers, oh man, but it was Iowa. I know back then the Nebraska Danger,
Yep.
they had the cowbells for a little bit, and but I mean I'm used to it. I'm in Texas and everything, so that's a Texas thing. Yeah, the cowbell. They had cowbells and the ham slappy things. These
Yep.
the
the
three
clap.
hands are
Yeah.
slapping against each other. Yeah, they had those too. So yeah,
Oh,
it was
good,
pretty
Matt.
cool. I think for our second game there and everything. Our fans is really enjoying themselves, making a little cowbell noise and stuff. It might be a part of our ritual.
There you go.
And it's
Yeah,
nothing wrong with having more noisemakers
pretty cool.
itself, especially the game. JD, you got the big game this weekend. You guys are traveling to Columbus, but it starts that stretch. How are you trying to stay focused on the season, stay healthy? What are the steps for
I don't know.
you
I
to
can't
move forward?
hear. There we go.
Oh, you muted? So I get muted? Oh, out there. But I was gonna say the season starts
Yeah, I can't
6
hear
straight
Jim.
weeks.
So you guys are starting you guys got a road trip this week to Columbus, season about 6 straight weeks of football. How you feel about that stretch coming into the final 6 weeks of the season there and just getting to play game after game after game?
I mean, think like I said, we had the 3.5 weeks off. We're just so ready just to play and show people what we got, who we really are. I mean, even though, like I said, like you guys said too as well, we played the top two teams from last season. We beat both of them. That's a big, huge statement. But the mission is to, finish every game like that. So we're just ready for the next game. I tell every team I've ever played on is 1-0. There's no point in keeping the record with 2-0. No, it's 1-0 every week. make sure that the team that we play, we gotta beat them because you never know. Any team could come up and beat us. Shoot, a lot of people I probably doubted that we were going to beat Omaha. So the fact that we came out, we did what we had to do to beat them. Anything we could get beat as well. So we just gotta make sure we prepare as well every week the same way. Coach Solo said it earlier today. In order to be great, it's boring. Sometimes being great is boring because you got to do the same thing every day consistently. Sometimes doing the same thing every day consistently gets boring. But in order to be a champion, to be successful, gotta stay consistent. You gotta keep doing the same thing every day. So we're just making sure that we stay on the good path for the next couple of weeks because we know it's gonna be a long haul. Shoot, some other teams gonna have bye weeks, but we're ready. We've been sitting too long anyway, so we're ready. Yeah,
Well, you've had a couple weeks off, so I think you're done. You're done with all the bye weeks.
yeah. Like I'm ready to play. Yeah.
That's like us podcasters. We get tired. How many episodes we've done so far? 182.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, wow, 182.
Yeah. So we gotta take breaks, but when we take breaks, we're at fault. It's like, where you guys have been? What's going on? It's like they need the energy. It's like we're an energy drink. So when we take breaks, they get mad at us. When you guys take breaks, you're like, when are they going to play? So hashtag save a podcast, okay?
I like that. That's funny.
5 cents a day.
That's funny.
Don't
I
start
like that.
singing. No.
I stopped.
I like that one. Save. Now that you said it, I'm gonna put that when I post about the episode. That's gonna be the hashtag. Save the podcast.
Save a
We're gonna make
podcast.
it.
But, yeah,
We're gonna make it
great.
viral.
That's good.
Yeah, okay. And everyone, don't freaking sing. That song's gonna get stuck in my head, and I'm gonna be singing it all night before I go to bed.
I'm gonna send it to you.
Yeah, you need to, like 5 cents a day.
We're off the rails.
But again, JD, I appreciate you coming on. I know you've had a journey to get here. 6 weeks, 2-0. We asked this a lot of these questions to the players. Short-term goal, ultimate goal for this season.
Short-term goal for the season. I mean, like I said, want to know every week, win every game, stay consistent. Long-term goal for the team is for us to stay here in Beaumont, win here in Beaumont. That's my long-term goal of me coming down here is to make sure that this team stays here in Beaumont and make sure we get the fan base, get the community involved, different things like that. So, and also I have my brand as well, FIDA, which is an indoor turf shoe brand. I can show you guys real quick.
Oh,
There you go.
Absolutely.
So here's our white, it's called our whiteout shoe. Here's a high top whiteout shoe. We also have our high top black shoe as well. And we also have other shoes as well.
Cool.
He's a vet. You know,
Yeah.
he's played the game. He knows what shoes are supposed to be worn for turf,
Yeah. This is
especially all
kinda
the multiple turfs that you have in indoor, because not every field's the same. We know this because you look at Omaha, it's orange. You look at Beaumont, it's red.
Exactly. So, because I know, so this is the thing about my shoe brand is called FITA, FITA. It stands for Field Indoor Turf Apparel. So we wanted to create, me and Sam Gordon as well. So we wanted to create basically a shoe for all the players. We knew like one of the biggest things that was an issue with all the players, finding some shoes and look, you go to Dick's, go to Academy Sports, turf shoes is about $150. Nobody wants to pay $150 for some shoes that's going to end up being messed up within about 2 or 3 weeks or maybe a month or so. So we decided to create our own turf shoes. So we even have blue ones as well. And this is our low top shoe. So yeah, we have different things going on. So with that, my long-term goal is for my shoe brand to be the official shoe brand for all the indoor arena leagues and everything, for the IFL, NAL, for the AF1, even the CIF, all the leagues. I want to make sure that all the leagues have my
That,
brand and
that
everything. So
that's a goal.
yeah,
That,
it's
that,
a big goal for me.
that,
Yeah,
that you have to start off somewhere, and sometimes like Nike didn't start just big off the bat. They worked to get to where they're at.
Mm-hmm.
Same as Adidas, same as
exactly.
Reebok. Like they had to start somewhere, and sometimes it just starts off with an idea like you, and eventually, 5 years from now, 6 years now, you could be headline, and you've gone from an indoor career. You can be the shoe brand that, like Kurt Warner gets for the indoor arena football. Everyone talks about Kurt Warner because he played in the arena and became a Hall of Famer. They'll be like, "Hey, JD's the one who started this company, and now he controls the industry of shoe brand." That's
Shoe brand,
an ultimate that's an
big
ultimate
goal.
goal right there.
Yes, thank you. Appreciate you. And it's a real big goal for us. We're successful with our shoes as well. This is our third year, and my first year was with the Pirates when we won the championship. Actually, the shoes came in 2 weeks before the championship game. We ended up winning the championship and at Arizona, beating the Rattlers. So allowed almost the whole team wore my shoes. Ever since then, the fighters, everybody's worn my shoes, and then here, uh, all the skilled players. And two of the offensive linemen and two of the defensive linemen are wearing my shoes. So it's
That's
proven
awesome.
that yeah, success is coming behind it. So I just was like, you know what? Okay, let's push this even more for the whole entire
And
league.
when people says, does your apparel work? You go, well, here is the film of him
Yeah.
in action.
Exactly. Perfect. We even have players, I don't know if you guys remember Santos Ramirez, safety, and then he played inside the UFL with the defenders. He wore my shoes when he played here. Justin Rankin, that played
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I know
running
Rankin. Yeah,
back. Rankin, he wore my shoes while he played arena football for 2 seasons. Actually, when he left and went to the Bay Area, he called me almost every other week. I need a pair of shoes. I need a pair of shoes. Like, so yeah, like it's very successful. Our shoes are very successful.
that's an honestly, we ask a lot of questions, a lot of guys, and they usually go, well, the short-term goal is stay healthy, long-term goal is to win a championship. You're looking past the championship. You're looking at, you know, domination of the industry of the shoe
Yeah.
brand, and that's like I tell people, when you do goals, don't set goals where you can achieve next week. What the heck? That's not even a goal. Achieve something that will, when you look back at it 10 to 15 years ago, well, if it was successful, you're great, you feel great about it, and you'll be, surrounded by more successful individuals. If you fail, at least you go, at least I did it. At least I tried.
Mhm.
You can't, like my father's always said, I guarantee you, anybody your family is telling you this, you can't achieve something without taking that first step.
Yes,
So
because
you're making that
you
first step.
can't do anything. Basically, you gotta have faith.
Mhm.
You gotta have faith in you. And thing is about it, you gotta have faith in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people they uh, like to stay away because they think that other people aren't supporting them or something like that.
Yeah.
No, you just need yourself to have faith in different, and it will happen. Just make sure you stay consistent.
Well, JD, I appreciate it. I was going to say, actually, yeah, you got Instagram, you got social media. Where can the fans follow you on social media platforms so they can get connected with you to get for some of your shoe stuff?
Okay, so for the shoes, you can follow us at Fita Gear, FITAGEAR on Instagram, and also we're on TikTok as well. And then for my personal handle, JD 99 Griggs. That's JD 99 Griggs on Instagram. And also have a fitness brand as well with Fita. So and then that's the Fita Fitness. So yeah, that's my handles on social media. I have TikTok. Just got on the X thing. I never was really a Twitter person like that. So I just
Oh,
got on my X.
that's an interesting environment, Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I never really was a fan like that. But hey, I know a couple people were saying you need to get an X. I'm like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
But
It's a you honestly get into X, you can get more traction with different platforms and get more audience from different people that may not know what you're trying to do. It's a good area to promote stuff, but there's a lot of individuals there that a lot of bots that you
Oh,
think
okay.
are in it. So it's not as controlled like TikTok is and Instagram is. How that's really it's really controlled. X is just like you're out there. It's like the Wild Wild West. You're just yeehawing everywhere. You have no
Wow.
idea, but
Wow.
it's an adventure. But you can find a ground. And hey, what you're doing is impressive. You've been in it. You've been in the sport for many years, so you know what the players need. You know what's successful. You know what you need to be successful. And now your ultimate goal is to honestly dominate the industry. And
Exactly.
that's an ultimate, like, that's pretty impressive that you don't understand that.
Thank you. Appreciate you, man. Yeah.
But you got a game this weekend.
Yep.
At 6 straight weekends. So hopefully we get you back on the show 2-0. But
Yep.
you got more games now. So Lincoln and I, we're talking about postseason football. So I want to say, JD, best of luck. Stay
Thank you.
healthy. When you're tired of working, keep working. Because
Yes,
the more you
definitely.
work, the more you become successful.
I like that. Stay consistent.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, good luck,
Thank
man.
you, guys. I appreciate you guys for having me. I really think that this is big, and like I said, for Beaumont, we're here to stay.
All right.
Appreciate
Well,
you
with
guys.
that, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back after this. We'll wrap up the show. We'll cover up the games this past weekend, update the standings, and talk about upcoming weekend's games. And besides, we have an extra episode coming in for you later in the week, so we'll indulge a little more on that after this short break. We'll be back after this. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, my screen's all messed up. There we go. We fixed a little technical difficulties that happens. Remember, hashtag save a podcast. I like how in the comments, I'm reading the comments, a lot of people have tuned in and actually push that hashtag. That's pretty entertaining. I really appreciate JD joining. But we got to talk about some of the games that happened this past weekend, including the updated standings of the National Arena League. If you're watching on social media platforms, you see it live. Hashtag, there we go, Sydney. Hashtag save a podcast. Beaumont and Columbus are the top two teams in the American Division right now. So the postseason started in the American Division. That would be the matchup. And out in the National Division, Sioux City and Omaha would be also that matchup. But if you look right there, number 3 and number 4. Here come Colorado. Here comes Idaho. Well, interesting, because Colorado with a dominating affair. Its graphic is provided by the Colorado Spartans, 69-18 over the Vegas Kings, excuse me, and the Shreveport Rubru 55-12 victory over Louisville. Quick on those two games, a lot of non-league games, but one thing I've noticed about both teams, got their kinks out. Their offenses opened up. You saw more guys get more playing time. I look at Colorado, and I look how their offense is starting to go more downfield than they were earlier in the year. They're only half a game out. Hello, here comes Colorado. Keep an eye on that. And people think, well, they played Vegas. Well, Vegas plays almost every single team in the nation, seems like. It's like they're playing someone in the NAL or another league every single. So there's some dudes, and there's some dudes on that team that actually played in the NAL last year, so they're quality opponent. Shreveport, again, got that loss out of their sights from Idaho the previous week. Bounce back, win at home. What are you thinking about these two games? Is it something that both teams can build on, especially Idaho, especially Colorado, seeing that they got right back in it? They're a half a game out of second place in the National Division. What are your thoughts there, Jeff?
I think so. I think it was good games for both teams to see what they have, kind of explore the rosters a little bit, and kind of make some cuts and see if they need to get rid of some players and bring some in, or kind of gauge where they're at, kind of line in the sand game for both of them. I mean, those out of league games are really good for those teams because they kind of get to see some players that are not used to getting the opportunity to show what they have.
Yeah. Matt?
Yeah, I agree. We look at Colorado, and we saw early in the season Aiken playing for them, and instead we got to see more of Sale, and he looked like a guy who has picked up the offense really well, regardless of who they're playing. So, yeah, I think Colorado is a team that we talked about in the offseason that could definitely be a contender this year.
Mm-hmm.
Also, we are a halfway point, technically. You gotta look at it. We're halfway through the season. So if the postseason started right now, Columbus is at Beaumont, Sioux City is at Omaha. Still a lot of football to be played in both divisions. But if you look at the American division, there is a crucial matchup that happens this week in Wheeling, West Virginia. The Wheeling Miners are hosting the Carolina Cobras in a pivotal division game. Wheeling gets that win. And if Beaumont, I'm just I don't like forecasting, ladies and gentlemen, because I don't want to be accused of saying that, well, Jim say this. I am forecasting. If Beaumont wins, they go to 3-0, and then Wheeling wins, maybe Shreveport, all of a sudden you're looking at 2, 3, 4, and 5 be separated by a half a game. You're talking about a month, the next 5-6 weeks of every game, like we mentioned in the preseason. We're going to have games that are going to be playoff games weeks out before the postseason is there. So we're going to start seeing actual playoff games. That's one thing about the playoff bracket, even though we're still a month and a half away from it. We're going to have playoff type of games if certain games, if Beaumont does beat Columbus and Wheeling gets back with a win at home. You're looking at I'm gonna bring back a term from the old inside the walls, the muck of the American Conference, which you're gonna have 4 teams within a half a game of each other for that final spot. You want to talk about some entertaining football? That's going to be some entertaining football, especially in the American division. Now, Beaumont can also lose, and all of a sudden you can just say the whole division's up at play, and then you're going to have complete chaos. So we're entering that time of the season where we're going to have some games in the American division that each and every week, if it's Beaumont versus Columbus, if it's Columbus versus Wheeling, if it's Beaumont versus Wheeling, whoever, playoff games weeks before the postseason. Like where is Sunday Night Football theme song? Like that is like Carrie Underwood starts singing. That's what type of action I'm expecting. But Jeff, I know you want to add it. Got a crucial game this weekend in Wheeling. Carolina goes up there. We'll get in more in depth with or additional episode, but I just want to say what's the vibe right now, seeing that you're with the organization 24/7. Kind of do a show on Wednesdays, call it Through the Wire.
Yeah.
What's the vibe right now, especially the off week after the win in Carolina and getting prepared to get Carolina again and Wheeling?
Excitement. I mean, it's one of those things where the team got back on track, with that win in Carolina, and now it's the third installment of this rivalry, which we totally expected. And it split right down the middle, 1-1. This is winner take all for both teams. I mean, this is a setup game for both teams to for the rest of the season. So it definitely going to be a very good environment. Wheeling is running a ticket deal right now, so that's really going to help out with that as well. So they're doing military and first responder night, so that's always a huge night for anybody. So definitely going to be a great environment. You guys were there week 1. I think it's going to be turned up a notch from that. I mean, I think we're going to have a pretty good crowd. We had a decent crowd on that Monday night, but I think, the team has been away for over a month, hasn't played at home in over a month, and the fans are excited and ready to go. From seeing what I seen, when they played Carolina, that's the Wheeling team that we expected to come in and play this first couple weeks. We did not see that, but we seen them, come together, gel, finally get in the environment of the NAL and win in the win column 2 weeks ago. So I look for it to be a highly contested game, and I think it's going to come down to the fourth quarter play and who has the ball last.
Well, honestly, before we talk to Matt, we can literally describe upcoming weekend's games divisional rivalry weekend.
Mhm.
Because the national division, you have you have some small rivalry called the I-29 that's happening in Omaha, so it's not a big deal, but it's just a small rivalry. But then also another intriguing matchup is, does Idaho go to Colorado with that Giovanni Sanders? That offense looks it's starting to look like you saw against Carolina second half. It's starting to kick. But
Mhm.
do they have enough gas to go into Colorado and look at a new revamped offense that Coach Shaw's done, especially with Sale QB? That's going to be an intriguing matchup to watch this weekend as well.
I keep wondering and I keep looking. Colorado is carrying 4 quarterbacks.
Well, yeah, that is
So
interesting.
I mean, I don't know what Coach Shaw has up his sleeve. I mean, he's a veteran coach in this league, so I mean, it's very interesting. But who knows? I mean, that'll keep you on your toes. You don't know who you're going to see, to be honest.
Yeah, I think for me, for that game, I'm really intrigued to see number one, who plays quarterback for Idaho, right? Because we saw Lowe play quarterback for Idaho this last week, and he looked amazing. 10 of 16 for 130 yards and 4 touchdowns. And Kyler Henson's coming into his own too. He had 8 catches for 82 yards and 2 touchdowns this last week. I mean, that Idaho offense is starting to become a little scary. And we talked about like they were one of those teams that like could muck up the waters a little bit here towards the end of the season, and we're getting right into the heart of this 2025 National Arena League season, and they could be the team that mucks up the water for the teams that are trying to make the playoffs out there in the national or just in general.
Well, we've always said that it was going to be competitive no matter what, no matter
Yeah.
what division is going to be. So we got games this weekend that I think are going to be. That's the reason why I said Colorado. No, everyone's looking at I-29. A lot of people are looking at Carolina and Willing, and of course Beaumont with their win over Omaha. People are watching Omaha, but no one's talking about Colorado and Idaho. I think that's going to be a sneaky good game that could steal the weekend.
It's
I
a
really,
big weekend for the National Arena League. I mean, there's a lot of key matchups happening, like you mentioned. I mean, and I hate to say it, but I mean, Beaumont has a chance to knock off another champion from last year, 2 weeks in a row. So I mean, it's big implications. I mean, that just goes to show you everybody. If you look at the standings, like you showed, Jim, everybody is within 1 or 2 games of each other. That's exactly what we wanted and expected this season.
it's
the parity.
Mhm.
Like, let's think about this, guys. The loser of the I-29 rivalry game on Saturday is going to have 2 losses. The loser. So you're talking about the rematch that everybody's been waiting for since June of 2024, where it was the matchup of the rematch of the championship game, arguably the greatest indoor football game in the history of the sport. And one of those 2 teams is going to have 2 losses.
Yeah, and one of those 2 teams, based on if the other game happens between Colorado and Idaho, a loss this weekend, and they're outside looking in.
Mm-hmm.
And Colorado or Idaho would be the team that's the one, the top 2. I know there's still a lot of football to be played, but we mentioned we're getting into weeks now where even though the playoff field's only 2 teams per division, how close all these teams are, we're going to have playoff games every single week. And there's crucial moments. Like there were some moments this weekend in both Idaho and Carolina and Omaha and Beaumont, like crucial points in the game where you go, well, if that completion happened or if that flag wasn't thrown, we're looking at this at a different perspective. Like, is this a chance for possibly Carolina, securing the top 2 in the American with Beaumont because they held on and actually won the game in Idaho? Or we could be talking about how Omaha is still undefeated and starting to actually definitely lock up that top spot. That's one thing. Even though each and every week the games change and different performances happen in different games, if you're not entertained by the quality of the games that are happening, with the action of the players, I'm like, I don't care what people say. We're a very competitive league, and right now, you told me right now, bet your house, bet your mortgage, who wins the NAL championship, and you got to pick a team. I'll be starting packing up bags because honestly, someone gets hot, anyone in this league can win it all.
Mm-hmm.
We couldn't say that about this league this time last year. Because this time last year, we already knew who the top 3 teams were, and there was a clear, obvious separation. This year, we have a 9-team league, and all 9 teams can still make a push and make a run at it. If you're not excited about that, folks, I have no idea where you're watching. But again, it's football. But remember, I know you guys asked, where were we last week? We're adults. We had to do adult things. I do apologize, but we did have a guest that was going to join us last week, Sterling Clark of the Sioux City Bandits. We'll have a interview with him. We'll talk about the I-29 rivalry, and it'll be aired on Friday. Will not be live. We'll have it released on Friday for your enjoyment. So we'll give you an extra dose of NAL content, getting you ready for that I-29 rivalry this weekend. Also, let's recap. What was the hashtag we started? Hashtag Save a Podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So hashtag Save a Podcast, but we got to post scores first. So we recap some of the scores in the NAL. The Idaho Horsemen 34-21 victories over the Carolina Cobras, and of course the big time win in Beaumont, where the Beaumont Renegades beat the Omaha Beef 36-31. And of course, we got to mention some of the offensive players of the week. Get Matt, you have the honors because one of your guys are in here.
Yeah, Caleb Lowe. Caleb Lowe, like I mentioned before, 10 of 16, 130 yards and 4 touchdowns. John Griggs, a massive game there against Omaha. And then another former Omaha Beef player, a guy that I've actually talked to several times this offseason, Ryan Hibbets, the kicker there for Beaumont as well. Getting that deuce to open up the game, that was pretty impressive there by Hibbets, even though we didn't get to see it. But
it's still a deuce is a deuce. Got up on the score, so it's entertaining. To the fans that are joining us, remember you can follow us on all of our podcast platforms at Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcast Addict, and on YouTube. If you're watching YouTube, ladies and gentlemen, hello, welcome. I know we're a little running late, so
we're actually on YouTube right now.
we're on YouTube. Yes.
Oh, okay, cool.
We're on YouTube. We're on X. We're on Rumble. There could be another platform that will be on that is visible. Well, I won't mention that platform yet, but things are working in the behind the scenes if you catch my drift. But I want to say to the fans, really appreciate it, love and respect. We had a statement made by Steven Shatola earlier in the episode about what's going on with the National Arena League and its YouTube page. We don't want to go into further depth with that, but we will recap the message from Steven Shatola, the multimedia director of the National Arena League. The National Arena League YouTube account was not suspended. The account was terminated by YouTube after internal review by YouTube, even after our appeal was denied. This is not due to a copyright. We understand that it's the most common cause, but our violation was a community violation related that we are still pursuing now with Google support, the apparent company of YouTube. The NAL is providing full footage and audio transcripts to prove their case against YouTube. This is not a minor suspension. This is a major infraction that won't be resolved overnight or over a phone call. And it continues. The National Arena League is committed to providing our loyal fans with a game they love. We are a multitude of support, including Inside the Walls and Right Now TV, and we will continue to bring our games to our fans for free. Steven Shatola of the National Arena League, the multimedia director. That is the updates from the league itself. For more updates of the National Arena League, please follow the National Arena League on Twitter at NAL. On Facebook, NAL at nationalarenaleague.com. And not Facebook. That's internet, Jim. Think focus. NationalArenaLeague.com for more information. Facebook at NationalArenaLeague.com. Also, you can follow us on social media itself at InWallsPod for more updated dates for NAL action. Jeff, any final words, my friend?
No, just excited to get to this weekend. I finally get to call a game in over a month, so I'm excited. I gotta, been prepping all this week, so I think I forget how to call games. It's been a while, so but I'm excited for that, to get that going. Excited weekend, big weekend for the NAL as a whole. Big games this weekend coming up.
Big games coming up and score updates. And yes, post to score will happen this weekend because the people who do the work behind the scenes also have other obligations. And all three of us who are in this chat right now, and the people behind the scenes, it's also WrestleMania weekend. So we'll be very busy this weekend. So hopefully everyone's enjoying. So hashtag, I know there's been Twitter accounts, YouTube, hashtag post a score, trying to flex and trying to clout over other content creators to try and get clout, but it's okay. We'll roll with it. We'll do with it. We'll join your parade. So hashtag post a score. We'll go and start doing that too, and we will be posting the score. Okay, Matt, what are you doing? Some FBI investigation? You just went silent.
No, I'm just looking at
Yeah, you're looking at stats. I know who you are. You're a stats man.
kind of, yeah. So, yeah.
But yeah,
I'm excited for this weekend too. Obviously, I mean, there's a huge game coming up in Omaha on Saturday. I-29, just a little one. I-29 rivalry, rematch of the championship game from last year. It gets crazy. I'm surprised that my phone hasn't gotten blown up by Coach Loban yet this week, but I'm sure sooner or later he'll be reaching out with that 4746 text message that he sends me every once in a while. But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun, and man, it's going to be a wild atmosphere on Saturday night, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's not a big rivalry at all.
No,
Sioux City, Omaha.
That's
like Ohio State, Michigan. No one's heard of that rivalry before. I was like, that doesn't mean anything. Or in your neck of the woods, Texas, Oklahoma. Not that big. But again, to everybody out there, much love and respect. We do know the frustrations that are going on, but we're committed to bring forward good quality and get these, get the content that you guys really want out there more. Because without you, we don't exist, and without the National Arena League and our fans, we can't be covering the sport that we love. So. No matter if you're a fan or supporter or a troll, we love you. We respect you. Keep trolling, keep supporting. I'll keep laughing and keep loving the attention. But for me, myself, Matt, and Jeff, again, much love and respect. We got an additional episode coming for you guys this week. And we'll actually break down more content for upcoming games. Much love, much respect. Be chill. Hashtag save a podcast, saying that hashtags are happening for 5 cents a day. You can save a podcast today. And that song is going to be stuck. There we go. We got Sam Gordon doing it. It's over now. It's definitely going to start trending now. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, much love and respect to all of you out there. And remember, for more up-to-date of the National Arena League, NationalArenaLeague.com games all week. And follow Inside the Walls podcast, because once we get confirmation of any news, we will be the first ones to break it, and we won't be doing hashtag report. Our sources are literally the commissioners and owners of the league. So when we say something, it's fact. So disregard all the Facebook chatter from unofficial sources. Follow us on Inside the Walls podcast, or follow Jeff on social media, because he's wild on social media. No, joking, you don't have one. And Matt, of course, who cares? You can follow us on InWalls Pod for more in-depth information for the National Arena League, as we're the official podcast and the official source for all information related to the National Arena League. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you guys on Friday for an additional episode. And hey, Beaumont, 2-0. What a way to start a season. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're halfway point of the season. We have playoff football games, especially happening right now. Big games. More in-depth coverage of more content Friday. Tune in to Inside the Walls. That's Matt. That's Jeff. I am Jim. We see you guys later this week.